I'm Chris Barker.
And I'm Will Betts, and this is the MusicTech My Forever Studio podcast brought to you in partnership with Audient, and we're coming to you this time from TYX Studios in London.
In this podcast, we speak with musicians, DJs, producers and engineers about their fantasy forever studio.
This fantasy studio that our guests dream up is one they're going to have to live with for eternity. But even in Foreverland, we do have some rules, don't we, Chris?
That's right, the rules. Our guests can select a computer, a DAW and an audio interface. Those things are free, but then they get just 6 other bits of studio kit plus 1 luxury item.
We have one more very, very important rule though, don't we?
Yes. That's right, no bundles. Choosing a package of software or hardware that's sold together as a bundle is not allowed.
That's right. Our guest this time is an award-winning artist, producer and engineer who's worked with the likes of WizKid, Skepta, Skrillex, Gunna and many more.
That's right, and if you've ever heard the tag Sarz on the beat, that's him.
This is My Forever Studio with Sarz. Welcome.
Welcome, Sarz.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I think the first thing we have to talk about before we start building the Forever Studio, let's talk about, how you got started in this business and, how you got started making music. Was it from instruments? Was it via computing? Was it via software and programming beats? Like, how was that journey for you early on?
To be honest, it was by mistake.
Okay.
Literally by chance. But I've always been a lover of music, and unlike most people, I only cared for the beats. So I was a big fan of Timbaland, Pharrell, Dr. Dre, growing up, and any song produced by them, I just wanted to analyze it and everything. Mm-hmm. And I only listened to music if it was produced by my favorite producers. So I guess, that was the love of music, just brewing in me. And
so when did the creating start? Yeah, what was the accident?
So the accident is my friend who was a producer was like, oh, you spend so much time just with music, why don't you just try making beats yourself? Mm-hmm. And he sent me an FL Studio 3 demo. Mm-hmm. And I make a beat, and obviously with the demo you can't save.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I thought that was how it works. So I would make a beat for a client, for an artist or whoever, and he'll be like, you know what? I like this part, but maybe if you could change this part, maybe take the chords out or, make the drums. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then remake the beat again. So I did that for at least 6 months.
What's a way to get good quick though? Because
exactly. But I didn't know I was just training myself to get better. But I thought that was how you were supposed to make music.
They asked for it to be changed. Be like, no, that's it.
Yeah,
you get one shot. Yeah. That's it. You don't like it. That's your problem.
So I'll make the same beat up 10 times. They'll never be they're super identical. Obviously, never the same. But it's that kind of trained me, to becoming who I am today.
And you naturally kind of, I guess, improved it every time you have to remake it.
Yes.
So actually now that gives
Yes. Then when I found out that, that was just a demo version, that you could get a full version of
flip the desk over.
I was like, what? Nah. But I mean, it helped.
And did you stick with FL then?
Yeah, I've been using FL. I've tried Ableton, but just going through that learning curve, it's just so difficult. I know everything on FL at the back of my hand. Mm. Yeah.
So you started as a programmer essentially, and as a
I have no musical background. The time I spent in music has improved my tone. I used to be tone deaf. Now I know keys. Yeah. I can find my way around the piano. I can play some keys. Things like that. Yeah. Just over time.
I guess that leads us to the first thing, which is probably going to be a difficult decision for you as you're relatively well traveled, is where would you put your dream studio in the world? If you could
studio in the world,
what would it look like? What kind of building? What kind of vibe?
My dream studio would definitely be on an island, probably on a cliff where you can see where the scenery is just beautiful,
water. When you say an island, you're not thinking Scotland.
No. Somewhere hot. Somewhere hot.
Okay, great.
Yeah. That would be the dream location. However, I would like that to be, in the city center as well. So if you could just bring my island to the city center, so I don't have to I don't have to be isolated from everyone.
So you kind of just want to be floating in the middle of a city, like a super villain or a mayor in Sim City.
Basically, you've seen the Avengers headquarters.
Oh,
HQ.
okay.
Oh
Yes.
no, or Tony Stark's home.
Oh, the Malibu cliff top.
Yes.
So are we thinking?
Okay.
Yes.
So, but we're thinking, that side of the Atlantic then, in terms of Caribbean or Pacific side,
Yeah,
West Coast, East Coast.
I don't mind. Somewhere around there. Yeah, the Caribbeans. Yeah.
You don't want to be closer to LA for the music business?
LA is cool, but it's too far from everything, and they're also like 8 hours, like 9 hours behind. It's
Culturally,
it kind of, because I have like a lot of people on this side of the world, like in Nigeria, in other countries in Africa, here in the UK, like it just feels like you're away, and I don't like that.
Real place. What if it's a real
place? That can be somewhere in Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Tony Stark style house.
Yeah.
in Tanzania?
Yeah, it can be
Love
Cape
it.
Town as well.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Cape Town? On the Table Mountain edge.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like that.
Just looking over into the bay.
Yeah. Or somewhere in Nigeria. I mean, they have like beautiful waterfalls in Nigeria as well. But yeah, you get the vibe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
And what about-
Yeah,
that
we
will
can
land.
refine it later.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We'll drill down into that later.
Yeah.
So what about the vibe inside? And this speaks to like, how do you like to work? I mean, do you like kind of an open? Some people like no light, caves, no clocks. Some people
Yeah.
like bright open.
I love natural light. I also don't want my studio to look like a studio.
Okay.
Yeah, I want my studio to be as comfortable as possible. I want you to get in and don't feel like you're in the studio. I want you to feel comfortable, like you're in a living space.
Has that been a big part of when you work with other people? How like from your studio choices, if you're working with a client?
It doesn't matter. Like I would work anywhere in any studio, but I think I work my best when I'm by myself at home. Yeah.
Would you have your studio somewhere where you live as well? Or would you have it as a separate place you go? Because that can be a big decision. Some people don't like their studio in their home.
Oh, I could probably just, it could be in the same place in my home, and I just go to the basement,
Okay.
and have my studio there. Yeah. I like to be comfortable, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. I think,
Okay,
yeah.
zero commute. Love it.
Zero commute, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
Yeah.
no commute. Okay, fine. Okay, well then let's get on to the 3 free items that we call them, that every guest gets to select these. So your DAW, what audio interface you're going to have, and and computer, like what type of computer. So
DAW, just one, right?
well,
Just one.
for now, this
But
is the
yeah,
free
for your
one. Yeah.
freebie. Yeah.
And definitely FL Studio. They've been working with me from the jump.
And the growth of that product is crazy, right?
Now the things they're coming up with is insane. It's insane. Yeah.
And do you like because there used to be moments where people didn't really like admitting in the professional world to using it,
Yeah.
even though everybody was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's cool now, right? Nobody cares. Like
to
if
be
you show up in a
to be
client.
honest, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your business.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but it used to be. I felt bad for Image Line and FL
Yeah,
Studio
I
because
mean,
people
yeah.
used to be a bit like.
Earlier in my career, there was this artist from Nigeria, one of the biggest artists at that time. He wanted me to make some, beats for him, and I was so excited, this will be big for me and everything. And I played some beats. He loved them. I sent them to him, and he asked me what I make music with, and I said Fruity Loops. What's called Fruity Loops
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And he was like, he only works with people that use Pro Tools.
What?
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah, it happened.
Actually happened.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. So what then? What do you? What,
And
where'd you go from
I was like, shit, I lost that.
there? Whoa.
Yeah, I took the L, but
You should have said, well, everybody else has told you they've used Pro Tools. They're lying.
no, but
They must have been everybody that said, oh, yeah, did that in Pro No, they didn't. Well, yeah, you're making your beats in Pro Tools. Come on.
Did you ever have that again? Or was that just the one time that's
it
happened?
was just one time.
Yeah.
Right.
Just one time.
But that was early on. Like you said, there was a stigma, wasn't there?
This was like 2009 or 2008. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Has that artist ever come back to you now? Because that
No,
would be
he's
cool when you
not.
come
He's
back.
not. He's not relevant anymore. He's not relevant anymore. Like, yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's good.
Like-
That's a good story. That is a good story. I like that. Because that qualifies that it wasn't just hearsay, what we were saying about it having a bad rep. for no reason.
It's weird.
People do say things like that. Oh. Okay. So we're looking FL Studio. I mean, we thought that was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
But what about audio interface? Dream situation? Do you have a preference on like what you plug into?
So in the last 5 years, I've literally been on the road, just traveling from city to city. So one audio interface that's been with me, throughout that time has been Apollo Twin. Yeah.
Nice.
Popular choice. Would you stay with Apollo for the Twin, or would you go for one of the big racks?
Yeah.
Staying with Universal Audio?
Probably one of the big racks because if I have a big studio.
Yeah.
We're here to upsell dreams.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And with the preamps, I guess, mic preamps?
Or not so important.
Depends what you get. I guess we can pause that and see when we get to your other items whether you need the preamps on the interface.
Okay, cool.
And how many inputs you need. But we'll stay with the UA. And then the computer. Mac?
Definitely a Mac.
And are you going laptop or desktop?
Laptop, because I love to be mobile.
I'm going to say if you've got the... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to go some weird old school thing? You want modern or what?
You should have chosen...
Say that again.
FL Studio demo that doesn't save. Old PC. Go retro.
No. That's not going to work in today's, with today's music. Everything is so large. Like, all the files, like, I need a Mac that's spec'd out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can go for the full spec Mac.
M3 Max.
Max.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right. Okay. So those are the 3 items. We raced through those because everybody gets those.
Yeah.
Now you get just 6 other bits of kit. Software or hardware. So that's all you've got so far. And now you get 6 other items. So let's start with item number 1. Tell us about your choice and why.
Just because I use this in almost every channel. It's definitely in my strip. Shaper box.
Cable guys, right?
Yeah.
I don't think many people use it that often on our podcast, do they?
People don't normally choose it, but I think a lot of people use it.
Oh, yeah, it's on everything. Yeah,
it's a great plugin, that.
Yeah.
So tell us about Shapebox. Why is it always in the chain?
So for me, I find the easiest ways to do things. I'm not the techiest guy. Yeah, but I get things done. So Shaperbox is just it's the easiest way for me to sidechain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you can just draw in the curves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interface is really smart, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really smart. And, you can do a lot of other things.
You can get that
well.
sidechain style effect where volume envelopes basically pump.
Basically.
And so what specifically, can you talk us through like a specific use case for that? When are you sidechaining? What are you sidechaining?
Anything. Sometimes I can put them on keys and, turn the mix level to like 40 or 50. So it just kind of makes it like sits. It sits better in the mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can do loads of mad stuff with it as well.
Oh, so my only issue with this is it feels like a bundle. But
is this a bundle?
It's not. I think it's borderline. Is this like a multi-effect?
Multi-effects isn't a bundle.
Yeah, because it's all in one thing. That's
Wow.
fine. It's okay. We are walking a fine line here.
Will just likes pressing the air
I
horn.
really like hitting the air horn. I'll allow it.
Can you plug other stuff into Shaperbox? I think that's what you can do, can't you?
What do you mean plug other stuff?
Like, is it its own?
No, it's just a plugin.
Okay,
it's
then
a single plugin. It's fine. It's
okay.
Fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't break the rules. It's 6 items for a reason. Otherwise, it's chaos.
Yeah.
Okay, so lock in Shaperbox, and let's move on to item number 2 then.
Item number 2.
So all you've got is FL and Shaperbox really right now.
FL has a lot of stock.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's true.
You get a lot straight out of the box, right?
Omnisphere.
That is a popular choice. Omnisphere. Talk to us about Omnisphere. When did you first get it?
Maybe like 2011.
I can say it's pretty.
Oh, wow.
It's actually pretty old, isn't it? As a plugin, yeah.
It has an idea of everything you need. It might not be it exactly, but it's really close. Yeah. Anything you can think of.
So what do you generally find yourself using it for? Like, what do you go to Omnisphere for?
Anything, to be honest. Like when I find, an interesting sound, I save the presets.
Do you have the idea and then try and get the sound out of your head, or do you just browse and then the sound inspires the idea?
I have different sessions for both.
Okay.
I have sessions where I'm looking for stuff, and I have sessions where I know, I just go to my go-to sounds. Yeah.
So I guess, does that depend on whether you're working for yourself or working with certain people?
It depends if I'm trying to like change my sound palette, because I might stick to a sound palette for a week or two, just use that. And there's certain sounds that will never change, because that's kind of like your identity.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
and everyone hears things differently. So there's certain things that even if it's different, you would always make those choices. Like, for example, I really like kicks with no high end. That's just like round.
Real boomy kind of low.
And when I'm looking for kick drums, chances are when I hear something that's like boomy or round, I'm like, that's nice. So right. I could have like 20 kick drums and they all sound similar because that's what I always like to hear. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how do you balance that with the bass though, when you're talking about that? So it's a bit of a nerdy one, but like, because when you're choosing kicks that are that weighty and deep, and then if you want to, do you use them predominantly as the bass, or do you have bass? Because they can be a conflict, can't they? When you get that.
If there's a conflict, that's something like Shipperbox can like easily solve that. Yeah. Just sidechain the bass so you can hear the kick more. Yeah.
And you were saying about those sort of rolling kind of.
Oh yeah, in Monalisa, for instance, the bass in that with sort of ratcheting bass line. Tell us about that sound.
That's a log drum. And it came from South Africans Amapiano. It's literally a stock sound on FL Studio.
Oh really?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, got it.
On DX10. Yeah, and you could literally just tweak it however you want, and it just starts to sound different, and you can automate some knobs, to just really bring some really cool sounds.
So is DX10, I'm guessing, is that an FM style synth? Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing because of the DXing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I haven't done FL Studio since version 1.
Been a while.
Been a while, yeah. I was old, man.
Yeah. So, Amapiano, though, that's...
Yeah.
With the international recognition of that genre.
Yeah.
How are you finding that's influencing what you're doing in your music?
So here's how I see it. I think the log drum, whoever stumbled on that on FL Studio, is genius. Mm-hmm. And I think it does what 808 does to trap music, and how 808 has affected pop. Mm-hmm. So other genres don't necessarily make trap, but they'll use 808s. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of like that now, where other genres don't necessarily use all the Amapiano elements, but they take the log drums, as the bass.
I see.
To give it that kind of seasoning of that genre. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And is there any like rivalry then between like the Afrobeats and Amapiano camps, Is there any of that, or is everyone just kind of like, this is cool, this is a new thing?
I don't know if there's a rivalry, but and if there is, I'm blind to those, because I openly say I'm inspired by that music and that sound, and I take elements I want to take from it, and I try to elevate whatever I'm doing. Yeah, so I don't think there's a rivalry. Like Afrobeats is still where it's, they still make their music. Amapiano makes their music, and there's like an intersection between both genres. That's really cool too. And I think both genres are benefiting from each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you said about keeping your own style, like, are you aware of that? Because obviously people want to work with you for your sound.
Yeah.
But then in a way you kind of want to push your own sound on. And occasionally did people want you to produce a sound that you're ahead of now? You don't want to go back to that and you have to say no? Or has that not happened yet? Because I can imagine that when you were saying about Timbaland, I was just thinking, I hear that sound and I hear the Neptune sound, but there's a point where they have to sort of go, that was me then.
Not really. I also don't just work with anybody just because, I work with them either because I think they're very talented. I find them interesting, or vice versa. Or sometimes like there's the wild card where you're just like, oh, let's see, let's see how this goes. Let's see
And that
how
must be
this.
exciting, though, the wild card thing, right?
Yeah. That is very exciting because you just get to see things that you never thought you'd experience.
I guess that's when where you can really push it.
With my own music,
Yeah.
I can really push it because literally I'm the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I love to make music for myself, because that way I can get to do everything I want to do. I can make the intro 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
No one's gonna say, "Oh my God, this intro is too long." I could do whatever I want to do. I could try different sounds, and a lot of times when I make music for myself, people are like, "Wow, this is so cool!" Like, I want to make music like that. But then if I'm like, okay, let's just do something like that, like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, the end result is always cool to everyone, but the process is like, nah, they're not patient enough.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any of those wild card moments with artists? Maybe you have come out of the blue and and it's really worked out. Any like massive success stories from there?
There's a project I worked. I did a joint EP with Obongjaya, and when I heard his music, I didn't think we could make something together because he's very like analog, similar to like Bon Iver.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how can this work? But we linked up, and it was actually magical.
So how did that work in terms of the recording process then? If the work's quite analog, and like, were you like sampling it or?
No, I was just so when I meet an artist and I hear their music, or we just have a conversation. In that process, I start to envision my own idea of that artist, and that's how I paint the picture. So it's not really about what they've done. It's just like how I would paint you if I was you.
So it's kind of almost like remixing them, but not kind of approaching it like that.
So they get to see themselves, from another point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a twist on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of putting it. Moving on to item number 3.
Okay.
I think you're going to need some speakers, maybe.
Or headphones.
Or headphones. I mean, or both. I mean, you're going to use up items.
Speakers. I just got the Unit 4.
Oh, the III ones?
Yes.
The wireless ones?
Yes, they're amazing. By the way, I know I didn't say, but I would want my studio to be entirely wireless. I don't want to plug anything.
It's a dream.
100% about that. It's been a dream of mine as well.
Yeah.
I can't handle cables.
Yeah.
Look at Will. Will literally said that.
This is my particular thing I'm very, very passionate about.
Yes.
I've actually got the wireless TMA2s, the wireless Studio Plus. Wireless.
It just makes life easy. And also if I can create like, not me, or if, there's a technology that has like maybe an electromagnetic field of acoustic. So we can be in an open space.
But have the dead room environment.
Exactly. Me in an open space, everyone's making music, but there might be a studio set up in. Once you just switch it on, it's like he's in his own world.
We're back to the Avengers again, aren't we?
Exactly. Exactly. Like, that would be so cool.
Got some kind of...
that would be cool.
An acoustic force field. That's what we can call it.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It's another item. It's another item
yeah.
that we can manufacture on our podcast. So
Acoustic
we had the
force field.
acoustic helmet.
When did we have the acoustic helmet?
Really? Someone said
A
that.
Shiba. No, well, we invented it together.
Oh, yeah, of course we did. Yeah.
You know, like they have those booths that you go in the
Yeah.
ISO booth.
Yeah.
But you wear the whole thing as a helmet.
It's
With the
a big old
microphone.
hat.
So
Yeah.
you can sing and it's all acoustic. Yeah.
Nah.
We called it the My Forever Studio ISO helmet.
That's right.
And now we have the My Forever Studio with Sarz acoustic force field.
And that would be so sick,
We've got 2 products there. If anybody wants to invest in us, we are ready for investment.
Turn on the button and just go zzz.
Yep.
like the cone of silence.
Yeah,
Cone of silence.
basically.
Yeah.
That's what we'll
Basically.
call it, the cone of silence.
I'm pretty sure
That
that's
works better
trademark.
with our acoustic helmet.
Yeah.
You can get
So you can partition the room anyhow you want to.
Yeah.
anywhere can be dead.
Jokes aside, you can get like spotlight sound. So you can have things, they have them in galleries and museums where
Yes,
it's like a spotlight,
Yeah.
but when you stand into the light, you can hear, and when you stand out, you can't. It's quite cool. So if you're in a museum and you step in front of a painting, you can hear about the painting, and then when you step out of the light, you can't hear the sound.
Is that not just really tightly focused speakers? Because I've seen like walls of speakers before, and there's the way that the
It is tightly focused
cancellation of the different speakers works. It means at certain spots you
But
can
they
get the
throw
sound.
they throw the full sound down the light waves or something. I saw it once.
Yeah, I seen.
Will
something
always
like that on
looks at me
TikTok.
like I've had a dream and I've woken up.
in the middle of the
Will,
podcast.
Will's like, I think you've made this up. The cone of silence. Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
so we're going to stick with the wireless IIs then. You love those.
You don't.
Unit 4s.
Yeah.
I think they're the best sounding monitors on of that size. I think they're
And again, it's mobile traveling.
yes, anything that is
They're quite
wire
unique.
free.
There isn't any other wireless ones, I don't think, are there? Studio monitors?
can't think
And it has this transmitter that makes it so there's no latency.
Yeah, it's like about 12 milliseconds.
Yeah,
something like that.
which works great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very workable. Yeah,
And battery powered?
battery powered.
battery
So
powered. Yeah,
completely.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have a party on a plane.
you could.
you could. Yeah,
But you got
We could.
Okay, you're already scheming. I like it.
Yeah.
We could.
So, the Unit 4s. Okay, you don't want to go any bigger than that. Happy with those the way
No,
they are. So you can have any speaker in the world.
I don't know much about speakers, to be honest.
We could go.
I mean, I just go to the studio and I know speakers that sound great. I never ask like, oh, what speakers are these?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the least exciting part of the whole studio.
But you
build.
need to hear stuff.
Yeah, but if you know the Unit 4s, perfect.
Is that the biggest one they do? There isn't a Unit
No.
10?
No, that's
Unit
that's
4s.
the biggest
That's the
biggest one they
biggest.
do. But I'm guessing, my dream studio obviously has the best sounding speakers. But I'm just just for the sake of putting this list together. Yeah.
For the sake of it. Come on. This is our lives, this podcast.
And it's going to be yours too.
So easily dismissed that entire concept of our podcast there. Cheers, man. No, seriously.
Yeah.
No, I like the IIs.
They're cool.
So basically what we're saying is in Fantasy Forever Land, if they could have those but bigger, that would be great, right? A little bit. Because how...
Probably not. It's just because I'm using them right now and I'm really enjoying them.
The wireless thing is killer. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, but like I said, I want the whole studio to be wireless. Just get in, and just connect.
No,
Go crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, so let's get on to item number 4.
Item number 4. Um.
You're going to need a microphone of some sort, surely.
Are you?
Well,
Do you just
I
wanna
guess
go
it. Are you?
synths and you don't have any keys yet, so
I don't like how you guys are just putting ideas in my head. No,
Sorry,
these are not my ideas.
What are your ideas?
That's fair.
yeah,
That-
that's
these,
fair. That's fair.
These are not my ideas. Like
We're just trying to upsell dreams.
If I want to end with three items, that's fine. It's my studio.
That would be
that's bold.
bold.
Yeah.
You don't want even 3 more things.
No, I'm just saying.
We're not
like
trying
I'm
to put
saying.
ideas, we're just trying to upsell dreams.
Yeah, we want to.
This is fantasy, but
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
a library with real musicians on demand.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. What?
well,
okay. Hang on.
that sounds like a bundle
That
of
does
sorts.
sound like a bundle.
Huh?
Sounds like a bundle.
Yeah.
It's not a bundle.
A bundle of musicians.
No, I said a
A
library.
library.
Omnisphere is a library.
Okay,
so
so
just imagine
what kind of library? Tell us about it.
Imagine a guitar sound, but instead of a guitar sound, it's a guitarist with that guitar, and you're like, "Play me this." And it's like, "Cool," and he plays it. It's a library.
Okay.
So you need to take that back.
Well.
Okay, I'll reverse that in the edit, and that'll come out.
please. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think we need to nail down what this actually is.
Yeah.
It's a sound library. It's like Contact.
So
Okay.
It's like the contact of all these amazing musicians to just be like, I need you. Let's go.
No, they're in there, and you hear the sound, the instruments. You know, if it's like a mandolin, you hear like, oh, this is cool. And you tell him what to play instead of you playing it.
So it's like an
real.
AI kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Like an AI version, an AI sampler.
Without any of the moral issues.
What are the moral issues? They're not real people in that box.
No, they're real people in that box. These are real people, right?
Huh?
Are there real people in
Don't
the
put me in
library?
trouble.
He's starting this. He's like, what about the moral issues? What moral issues?
No. Okay, so is it AI? Or are we saying it's AI?
We're saying if you're working on a song and you have this idea and you play with VST guitar and you're like, this is gonna sound way better with like actual guitarists.
Mm-hmm.
You call a guitarist, you play him what you played, and it's like, oh, play something similar,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or go crazy. And they play it. So now, with this plugin,
Okay.
It's like a translator for your idea into an acoustic instrument
basically.
by AI.
Okay.
I think that's an actual thing now. Isn't that a bit like that thing we were talking about earlier? Where you can just go 80s rock song, but you could do it with like 80s guitar sound or something.
It's called Synth GPT, isn't it?
Synth GPT.
That's the thing.
So
yeah.
like that, but for
with
acoustic.
soul, with
with soul.
with
Yeah.
acoustic instruments.
Okay.
No, not just with acoustic, with soul. Like they actually play
He wants to
properly.
put soul in a machine. It is getting a bit
It is.
questionable. It's getting
Yeah.
a bit
Okay. I'm gonna. You know what? I don't want any more.
done.
I'm done. I don't
We
want
just
any
worry
more.
about a robot uprising. As soon as you
Yeah.
start putting
That's
soul
our main
in
problem
these
here.
devices, you'll get to your studio to set up one day, and
No,
it'll murder you.
It's just gonna be like quick. Like it's how like deliveries these days have gotten quicker. Sometimes now you can get stuff delivered, maybe groceries in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be like that. It could take like 40 minutes, an hour before, right?
Yeah.
So it's getting faster.
It's like
I'm
Uber
just saying-
sessions
Yeah.
on the app.
Okay.
Now he's
Okay.
on board. Now he's on board.
Yeah. There's actually there's a device you can get, which means that you can record in real time over extremely long distances, like super low latency. I think Elk Audio make it. And it means that you can call up a session player and they can play directly into your session.
But-
using
So if
that.
it was that
This
within
plugin I have, I don't have to call people I know.
you don't have to call
Yeah.
it anyone.
The best people are already there.
Okay.
like Uber.
Okay.
Yeah. They 4.99 rated.
Yeah.
So they 4.999931
Yeah.
instrumentalists are there.
Session
Right.
exec.
Uber,
Yeah.
Uber for
Yeah, I like
musicians. Sure. Okay. Item number 5.
Yeah.
Uber for musicians. That's There was a moment though when we all thought that could actually be quite a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. You can't deny that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that works. That works. I'm cool with that.
when he's about 20 minutes away from your studio, you cancel. Nah.
Change my mind.
Change my mind.
Sorry, mate.
Too expensive. Surgeon. A lot of people requesting
Banjo.
banjo guitar right now. I'll
Forget it.
book them tomorrow.
I'll wait.
I'll wait.
Um,
Okay, so that's 4. 2 more items left if you need them.
C800 mic.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the Sony?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this microphone.
There's just something, about like the crisp high end.
When was the first time you experienced it?
I think 2021. And I was like, oh, it's
Quite an unusual looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I
to
was like,
encounter.
okay, so this is why some people's vocals just sound like they sit in the middle. Like, yeah.
Can you say who you're recording with that?
It wasn't me. I think it was WizKid. It was WizKid. Yeah, it was in a
So
session with WizKid.
is that WizKid's mic of choice for all of his vocal
That's his
sound?
go-to mic for sure.
So now
Yeah.
we know.
Ah,
That's why it sounds like that.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's
that's-
it's no secret.
was that WizKid's own mic, or was that in a specific studio you were at?
It was in the studio I was at. I don't know if it was his, but I mean, he was recording
You
with
always
that,
request
and
that.
I was like, okay.
Because not every studio has that mic, so some people request a studio for that mic, right?
Yeah,
It's an expensive piece of equipment.
Yeah.
it is. I also like the U87.
Yeah,
Classic,
classic.
yeah.
It's kind of boring to say that one, though, isn't it? It is a great mic. I think it's a boring answer.
I mean, it's the workhorse mic. It's
yeah.
You can
It's
do
not a
anything.
diss on the mic. It's just because I like the C800's got like a vibe to it, and it's a bit more unusual looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cool mic. That. Have you tried any of the clones, like the Warm Audio? I can't remember what it's called.
A lot of people like that one, don't they? The one with like the weird grill. Is that the Warm Audio one?
Is that the one that can emulate like different?
Oh, that's the Slate one, isn't it? The
classic
Slate does one of
Slate
those.
one.
And there's the Townsend Labs one that does that as well. Which I don't know how. I think the Townsend Labs one is slightly different, but I don't know. Look,
I don't know much about
It also depends on
my favorite is
artist.
SM57, by the way.
classic.
This one.
No, the 57, the handheld one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It also depends on the artist.
Yeah, of course.
I've worked with some artists that would only record with the SMBs.
Really?
Yeah, because there's just a certain way it makes their vocals sound, and you know, like the C800, you know, it's probably too bright for them.
Have you ever had any artists that insist on holding a mic for performance reasons?
Most Afrobeat artists,
They want to hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a challenge?
Like,
Because you can't do that with a Sony, right?
What was that? And you're like not into it.
Yeah.
just like, ugh, okay, you guys can't see my eyes.
Yeah. because that's just going to cause you problems later, right?
Yes.
You're right. Yes.
100%.
Yes. Well, not me. I mean, the mix engineer.
Yeah.
I'm just like, sorry, bro. But I mean, it better sound amazing. It better sound great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
His hands were all over it. He was drumming on it.
But do you find then that these artists who insist on, or maybe people who don't insist on using a handheld mic, but once they get in the booth with a big condenser mic like the C800, that it affects their performance? It must do, right?
yeah, and at the end of the day, just do what's best for you, because the people who actually make music for do not care. Most of them listen to music from their phones, you know. So I think sometimes we get too technical, and we think
Whatever serves the song.
we think we're making music for ourselves. Like you actually really need to see how people consume music. Like people that don't care, you know, they're not in the music business. It's very passive. They barely know who's singing. You know, not to talk about who's even behind the music or anything. You know, and they just hear it how they want to hear it, and maybe the artist says something that connects with them, and that's it, and that's their connection. It's not about how fat the bass sound, or how everything is, you know, it's in the right space. I mean,
You've got to serve the song, serve the project.
Exactly.
You know, and if you get the best performance, but it's noisy. It's
I
still
mean,
better
obviously sometimes the performance actually plays, you know, a major part, you know, to translate feeling. Yeah, and that's why, you know, people connect to it more, because it just sounds the same way, it hits you a certain way.
And just on that point then of people not necessarily being as engaged with who's behind the scenes, how important was that tag for you, Sarz on the Beat, to get your name out there and get people to know who you are?
Yes, so there's this song I made with WizKid in 2012, and it was literally, I mean, I hear this song now and it sounds like an ad, because it keeps saying Sarz on the Beat, Sarz on the Beat, Sarz on the Beat, Sarz on the Beat. But a lot of people still make reference to that song as when they hear Sarz and like, Sarz on the Beat, Sarz on the Beat. So it did its job. And I think tags are very important for producers right now.
because there's no credits as much anymore as well. A lot of time, streaming and stuff.
Yeah, right now, because I make my own music, I can afford not to have a tag, because my name's going to be on the song. It's going to live on my own spaces. Like, there's no way you're going to get that song and not think, you know, of me, you know, as a performer as well. But as a producer, I think you definitely need a tag. It's all the producers you know and you love have tags, or, you know, have some sort of like spotlight on them, you know, from being an artist themselves, or just, you know, just taking a bold step, you know.
I remember growing up when you'd start hearing that stuff, and then you'd search like, who's that, you know?
Yeah.
Dark Child, or like, you know,
But then
Red
again,
One or whatever.
to the average person,
Yep.
it sounds like gibberish. They don't know what that is. You know, you hear a tag and you just think like, oh, maybe they didn't clean up that part properly.
It's on Lady Gaga's Poker Face. She says red one, but everybody thinks she says red wine.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's still people like in the industry, music industry, that would they're able to tell like, okay, this is this person's tag. You know, you have to really be a music lover, but it does help because those people, you know, would spread the word to the unbelievers, people that order, you know, people that don't care, you know. So I think it's very important.
But it goes through upwards as well, management, especially and other artists, friends of the artists. Yeah,
especially if it's provocative, like, you know, and it's cool, you know, for people to just say that. You know? Yeah.
So we're on your final item. Before we get to a luxury item, which we'll discuss in a minute. But final bit of kit for the studio. Software or hardware?
I don't use any hardware. I'm not gonna act like, oh my god, you know, I need this. You know? No. Software.
Who needs hardware? You got Uber for musicians as well.
Yeah, exactly. What else do I use all the time? Fab Filter.
Okay, which one? That's kind of bundly, is it?
Version 3.
Pro Q.
Pro Q, yeah.
Nice.
Pro Q3.
Yeah.
That's kind of almost industry standard now, I'd say. If you could give that.
I think so.
Industry standard level.
I think that qualifies, yeah. Everybody has Pro Q.
I think before that it was the Waves one, wasn't it? Everybody used to love the similar sort of, is it parametric?
I think Waves Q or something like that.
Yeah, what was the Waves?
I never had that one.
It's in the bundle.
I had it when I was at
that's why we can't have it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know about it.
So tell us about Pro Q, because FL's got a pretty meaty EQ in it as well. Quite good, right?
The interface is just better. You know, it's seamless, easy to use. You can, FL Studio parametric EQ2 is similar, but Fab Filter is just easier to use. Yeah.
And it doesn't, the EQ in FL doesn't have the dynamics section that Pro Q3 has as well.
Yeah, it doesn't have that, and its analyzer is not as good as the Pro Q.
Are you using the dynamics section in Pro Q3 for, like, I don't know, de-essing or anything like that?
Yes, on vocals, especially, yeah.
Especially if they're holding the mic.
Nah, you're killing me. But yeah, on vocals especially, because I don't think I really need that, you know, with instruments, because except you have someone maybe playing a live instrument, maybe like, you know, strings, and it gets like really bright in some parts, and, you know, for things that have a more dynamic range,
Nice.
Okay, well, we're closing into the end now, but the first thing to do is
I'll give you a quick rundown.
Will's going to give you, so tune in.
An idea of what?
We're going to read back the studio that the Fantasy Forever studio that you've just built, okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Get ready, here we go.
We're on a cliff top.
Yes.
With views of the sea.
Yes.
In either Tanzania, Cape Town, or Nigeria. Where are you going? You've got to pick one. Pick one now. Tell me where.
Cape Town.
Cape Town. There's natural light, and it doesn't have the feel of a studio. Your free items are an M3 Max MacBook Pro. Your interface is an Apollo X8P. Your DAW is FL Studio 21.
I also want Pro Tools, but yeah.
You can't have it.
Okay, no problem.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's fine.
Your 6 items, you've started
We don't do this with anybody that uses Pro Tools. Go on. Sorry.
Your six items are Cable Guy's Shaper Box.
Yes.
Spectrasonics Omnisphere.
Yes.
For speakers, you've chosen the III Unit 4s.
Mm-hmm.
You have Uber for musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Then your 5th item is the Sony C800G microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to take the one you used to record WizKid? Are you going to steal that one, or just any version?
Any version.
Any version.
Yeah.
And then your final item is FabFilter Pro Q3. How does that feel as your Forever Studio?
It's a great start. However, you failed to mention that the studio is wireless.
Completely wireless.
And it has, what's that thing called? The acoustic.
The cone of silence.
The cone of silence. You need to add those.
Okay.
Well, I think we could add one of those
as your luxury item.
Well, wireless can be given.
We'll allow you wireless, yeah.
So, but you get a luxury item now. So is that the cone of silence, the luxury item?
Yes.
I love that as a term, the cone of silence.
Amazing.
And you can just place that cone of silence over where you're working, or you could put it over a noisy family member.
Yeah, exactly. If someone is annoying you in the studio,
just give them the cone of silence.
Yeah, and they're just talking and you can't hear anything else.
The dream.
Cone of silence.
Yeah.
Just point.
Yeah.
You could. I'm going to start saying that anyway, even though we haven't invented it yet.
That's a horrible idea.
Cone of silence. Okay. Right. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for creating the mic.
Thank you so much
with us and coming in, Sarz. Thank you so much. Woo!
Thank you.
Well, a fantastic deep dive into studio building there with Sarz.
Indeed. And so all that's left to say is thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time for another adventure into Studio Foreverdom. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.